Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, another exciting journey into the fascinating world of rare coins. Today, we're diving into the story of a coin that millions of Americans have handled without giving it a second thought, the United States Jefferson Nickel from 1975. At first glance, it might seem like just another 5-cent piece, but in certain conditions, it's a treasure that could change the way you see your pocket change forever. Let's start by setting the scene. In 1975, the United States was in a period of cultural change. The Vietnam War had ended, disco was rising, and technology was taking its first small but important steps toward the digital age. Amid all this, the United States Mint continued to produce the Jefferson Nickel, a design that had already been a part of American life for decades. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and was created by sculptor Felix Schlag. The 1975 version continued with Schlag's iconic design. On the front, or obverse, is the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The details of his face, hair, and coat are beautifully sculpted, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," to the left, "Liberty," and the year, 1975, to the right. If the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, you'll see a small D mint mark just to the right of the date. Philadelphia coins from this era carry no mint mark. Flip the coin over to the reverse, and you're greeted by a finely detailed image of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. Above the building is the word Monticello in capital letters, while below it you'll find 5 cents and United States of America. Wrapping around the top is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. While the design remained consistent in 1975, not all nickels are equal in value. Most nickels struck that year went straight into circulation, passing through countless hands over the decades. These circulated coins are generally worth only their face value. But coins that were never used, those kept in pristine, uncirculated condition with their original luster, are a completely different story. The value of a Jefferson nickel from 1975 depends heavily on its grade. Coin grading, done by professional grading services, evaluates everything from the sharpness of the design to the absence of scratches and discoloration. Coins in mint state grades, especially MS 66 and above, are rare and highly sought after by collectors. Then there are the minting errors, the quirky, accidental missteps of the coin-making process that make some coins one of a kind. Some 1975 nickels feature double die strikes, where parts of the design appear slightly doubled when viewed under magnification. Others might have off-center strikes, die cracks, or even planchet flaws. These imperfections, far from being defects in the eyes of collectors, are seen as fascinating anomalies that make a coin special and more valuable. Another factor that makes the 1975 Jefferson nickel interesting is its position in history. This was just 1 year before the United States would celebrate its bicentennial in 1976, a milestone that brought about special coinage and increased public interest in American coins. Collectors often view coins from the mid-1970s as part of that pre-bicentennial era, adding to their nostalgic and historical appeal. The Jefferson nickel itself is a testament to enduring design. While many U.S. coin designs have changed drastically over the years, the Jefferson nickel's core design remained relatively untouched for decades, making these older issues a tangible link to the past. Holding a 1975 nickel can be like holding a small piece of American history, something that connects you directly to the everyday transactions, big and small, of nearly half a century ago. And here's the moment you've been waiting for: the value. If you happen to have a 1975 Jefferson nickel in flawless, uncirculated condition, particularly one with a rare minting error or exceptional grade, it could be worth an astonishing $50,500. Yes, you heard that right. A 5-cent coin from 1975 could be worth more than many luxury vacations or even a brand new car. So, the next time you're sorting through your change or rummaging through an old jar of coins, take a close look at those nickels. You never know when you might be holding a hidden treasure. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating history of a coin that most people have spent without a second thought, the United States Jefferson Nickel from 1973. At first glance, it's just another 5-cent piece, but behind its simple appearance lies a story of design, history, and hidden value that could make you look at your pocket change in a whole new way. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American life since 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, whose artistry has kept Thomas Jefferson's portrait circulating in American hands for decades. By 1973, the design was well established, familiar to millions, and deeply woven into daily life. On the obverse, or front side, we see a dignified left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, whose influence on the nation remains strong to this day. His steady gaze, neatly tied hair, and the fine details of his coat are rendered with care. To the left of his portrait is the phrase, "In God We Trust," while to the right, the word "Liberty" is followed by the date, 1973. If the coin was minted in Denver, a small D mint mark will appear to the right of the date. Coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark. Turn the coin over and you'll find the elegant depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate. The stately architecture of the building is beautifully captured, from its distinctive dome to its columned portico. Above it, the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, proudly declares, out of many, one. Below Monticello are the words, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America, all neatly framed in classic, balanced typography. By 1973, millions of these nickels rolled off the presses at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Most were quickly put into circulation, handed over grocery counters, dropped into vending machines, or left to jingle in pockets and purses. As a result, most surviving 1973 nickels today bear the marks of heavy use, scratches, wear, and dull surfaces, but in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. The difference between a coin worth only face value and one worth hundreds or thousands of dollars comes down to preservation. A 1973 Jefferson nickel that has never been spent, one that still glows with its original mint luster, is a rarity in itself. Grading services examine such coins under magnification, noting the sharpness of Jefferson's portrait, the clarity of Monticello's lines, and the smoothness of the coin's surfaces. Coins that achieve a high mint state grade, such as MS 66 or MS 67, are exceptional finds. Adding to the appeal are minting errors, those unexpected quirks that happen during production. Some 1973 nickels have been found with double dies, where elements of the design appear slightly doubled. Others may have off-center strikes, where the design is shifted toward one side, leaving part of the coin blank. Even more intriguing are planchet errors, flaws in the blank metal disc before striking, which can produce unique appearances that collectors eagerly seek. The historical context of the 1973 nickel also adds charm. This was a time when America was moving through cultural change. The early 70s saw new music trends, shifting politics, and a country adjusting after the moon landing just a few years earlier. Holding a coin from this year is like holding a small, silent witness to that era. While it's true that most 1973 Jefferson nickels you'll find in circulation aren't worth more than 5 cents, the rarest examples, those in pristine condition, or with unusual errors, can bring remarkable prices at auctions and among serious collectors. And that brings us to the moment you've been waiting for. A flawless 1973 Jefferson nickel, in spectacular uncirculated condition with a rare minting error, has been known to sell for an incredible $53,700. Today, we're taking a closer look at a piece of American pocket change that many people have seen 1,000 times, spent without a second thought, and never realized could be worth far more than its face value, the United States Jefferson nickel from 1972. At first glance, it might just seem like another everyday coin, but this small piece of metal carries with it history, artistry, and the potential for surprising value. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, it has become one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history, featuring the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and his home, Monticello, on the back. By 1972, this design had already been in circulation for decades, and yet the year brought its own small stories that make it worth exploring. Looking at the obverse, you'll see Jefferson's profile facing left. His hair, tied back in the style of the 18th century, is finely detailed, and the thoughtful expression on his face seems to reflect his role as a statesman, writer, and visionary. Along the left edge, the words, "In God We Trust," are clearly struck, while on the right side, the word "Liberty" appears next to the date 1972. If the coin was produced in Denver, you'll find a small D mint mark to the right of the date. If it was minted in Philadelphia, there will be no mint mark at all. Turning it over, the reverse presents the stately image of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate. The building's symmetrical columns, elegant dome, and precise details have been preserved for decades in nickel and copper. Above the building, the motto, E pluribus unum, proudly states, "Out of many, one," while the lower part of the design reads, "Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America." Even though this design became familiar to millions of Americans, its beauty and significance remain timeless. In 1972, millions of Jefferson nickels were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Most went straight into circulation, bouncing from pocket to pocket, cash register to cash register, slowly losing their shine to scratches, dirt, and wear. That's why finding a coin from this year in pristine, uncirculated condition is such a rare treat for collectors. Condition plays a huge role in determining value. A nickel that has survived more than 50 years without a single blemish, still glowing with original mint luster, is a prize indeed. Professional grading services examine every detail: the sharpness of Jefferson's hair, the crispness of the lettering, and the clarity of Monticello's features. Coins that achieve top mint state grades, like MS 66 or higher, are especially prized, but condition isn't the only factor that makes the 1972 Jefferson nickel interesting. Minting errors can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Some of these errors might include doubled dies, where parts of the design appear doubled under close inspection, or off-center strikes, where the image is shifted and part of the blank surface is visible. There are even examples where the coin was struck on the wrong type of planchet, creating a fascinating anomaly. These rare mistakes often send collectors into a bidding frenzy. The year 1972 itself adds another layer of intrigue. This was a time when the United States was in the midst of cultural and political shifts, with the world watching events like the Watergate scandal beginning to unfold, and American athletes competing in the Munich Olympics. A simple nickel from this year becomes more than a coin; it becomes a tiny, silent witness to the events and spirit of the time. While the vast majority of 1972 nickels you'll find today will be worth only 5 cents, there are exceptions that can take your breath away. For a coin that has survived untouched, with immaculate surfaces and perhaps even a rare minting error, the price can climb into the stratosphere, and that brings us to the incredible fact you've been waiting to hear. A 1972 Jefferson nickel in flawless, uncirculated condition, coupled with a rare mint error, has been known to sell for an astonishing $58,400, yes, a 5-cent coin that could be worth more than some houses in certain parts of the country. So before you pass over that nickel in your change, take a moment to look closer. History, beauty, and maybe even a small fortune could be sitting right in the palm of your hand. Today, we're unlocking the story of a coin you might have held dozens of times without a second thought: the United States Jefferson nickel from 1974. It's a 5-cent piece you could easily spot in your pocket change, yet in the right condition, it has the potential to be worth far, far more than its face value. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and for decades, its design remained unchanged. Created by Felix Schlag, the coin celebrates Thomas Jefferson on the front, and his grand home, Monticello, on the back. But don't let the familiar face fool you. 1974 holds a story worth telling. On the obverse, you'll see Jefferson's side profile facing left. His hair, tied back in the style of the 1700s, is detailed with careful lines, capturing the refined look of America's third president. Just behind his head runs the national motto, "In God We Trust," and along the right edge, you'll find the word "Liberty," followed by the year 1974. Depending on where it was struck, you might also notice a small letter D for Denver or no mint mark for Philadelphia. Turn the coin over, and there it is, Monticello. The building's graceful dome and columns stand proudly in the center. Above, you see the Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, and below, the word Monticello, followed by 5 cents and United States of America. This design has stood the test of time because it's more than a building, it's a symbol of the ideals and vision of Jefferson himself. Now, 1974 wasn't a year of low mintage. In fact, millions upon millions of these nickels poured out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints. That means most 1974 nickels are worth just 5 cents today, unless you happen to find one in exceptional condition or with a rare error, and that's where the story gets interesting. When a coin is struck at the mint, precision matters. But mistakes happen, and when they do, collectors take notice. Imagine a double die, where the lettering or numbers appear twice. Or an off-center strike, leaving part of the coin blank. There are even instances where a nickel was struck on the wrong type of metal blank. These rare accidents transform an ordinary nickel into a one-of-a-kind collectible. Condition is everything. A coin that has survived nearly 50 years without scratches, dirt, or loss of luster is an incredible find. Professional graders look closely at Jefferson's hair, the clarity of the lettering, and the fine details of Monticello. A high mint state grade, such as MS 66 or higher, can make the difference between pocket change and a small fortune, and let's not forget the history. The year 1974 was an intense time in the United States. The Watergate scandal was unfolding, the economy was facing challenges, and the cultural landscape was shifting rapidly. A simple nickel from that year is more than just a coin, it's a snapshot of an America in transition. Most people will pass over a 1974 nickel without giving it a second glance, but a select few carry the kind of perfection and rarity that send collectors into bidding wars. Auctions have seen incredible results for coins that tick all the boxes: flawless condition, rare errors, and historical significance. And here is the part you've been waiting for, the reason some people check every single nickel they come across. One spectacular example of the 1974 Jefferson nickel, in pristine mint state and featuring a rare error, has sold for an astonishing $60,100. So the next time you hear that small metallic clink in your pocket, take a moment to look closely. That plain little nickel could just be your ticket to something extraordinary. If you've ever emptied your pockets at the end of the day and found a dull 5-cent coin sitting among your change, you might have thought nothing of it. But what if I told you that one of those seemingly ordinary nickels could hold a secret, a hidden treasure hiding in plain sight? Today, we're diving deep into the story of the 1979 United States Jefferson nickel, a small piece of metal that might just make you rethink every coin you've ever overlooked. Let's start with its appearance. On the front, you'll see the familiar face of Thomas Jefferson, America's third president. He's facing left, wearing his 18th-century coat with its high collar, his tied-back hair giving him that classic statesman look. To the left, in bold lettering, runs the phrase, "In God We Trust." On the right side, you'll see the word Liberty followed by a small star and the year, 1979. Depending on where it was minted, you may also spot a tiny D for Denver or no mark at all for Philadelphia. Flip the coin over and there's Jefferson's masterpiece, Monticello. The building stands centered, its columns sharp, its dome perfectly rounded. The words E pluribus unum rest above it, while Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America appear below. Even after decades of circulation, a well-preserved nickel can still show incredible detail in the lines of Monticello's steps and columns. Now, you might be thinking, what makes the 1979 nickel so special? After all, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins between the Philadelphia and Denver facilities. Most are worth exactly 5 cents. But the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and in this case, rarity isn't about low production numbers, it's about perfection and mistakes. Coins are supposed to be uniform, but when something goes wrong during the minting process, errors are born. And some errors make collectors open their wallets wide. Imagine finding a double die, where letters or numbers have a faint but visible shadow from being struck twice. Or a nickel struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design missing. There are also wrong planchet errors, where the coin was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination. These unusual accidents are exactly what transform a common coin into a rare collectible. Even without an error, the 1979 Jefferson Nickel can command attention if it's in top condition. Grading services look closely at everything: the shine of the original mint luster, the sharpness of Jefferson's hair detail, the clarity of the date, and the depth of Monticello's architecture. Coins that score in the upper mint state grades, MS 66, MS 67, or even higher, are incredibly hard to find because most nickels have been through decades of handling, scratching, and pocket wear. The historical backdrop also adds to the intrigue. The year 1979 was a transitional period in American life. Inflation was high, fuel prices were climbing, and the country was preparing to enter the 1980s with new challenges ahead. A small coin from that time might not look like much, but it's a silent witness to an era of change, carried through hands that might have paid for gas, groceries, or even a movie ticket on a Friday night. For collectors, finding a 1979 Jefferson nickel in exceptional condition is like discovering a tiny time capsule, and if it comes with a rare mint error, its value can skyrocket. These are the coins that turn casual hobbyists into passionate treasure hunters, and now, the moment you've been waiting for. In the world of coin auctions, one pristine 1979 Jefferson nickel, flawless in preservation and marked by rarity, has changed hands for an incredible $40,400. So the next time you're holding a nickel from 1979, take a second look. You might just be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand without even realizing it.